cross-empire collaboration. Another Reddit topic. Corpus and Grineer, the Corpus and the Grineer have been shown allying with the Tenno in the Cambion Drift. So for the new war, can they actually align with us and stop the sentient invasion? Operation Scarlet Spear and Orphix Venom were completely tragic when it came to the lore. Stargus Rock's character was completely demolished in Scarlet Spear. I mean, he went from being at least a respectable general who had an ounce of honor. Oh, god damn it. Had an ounce of honor into a generic cartoon villain. Our relationship with the Corpus isn't that one-sided compared to the Grineer. We're kind of friends with Alad V. We've saved Nef Anyo's ass from Parvos shenanigans. And speaking of Parvos, he's like a good guy despite his overzealous followers. It should be pretty well known that the Sentients are a threat to the entire Origin system. And yet the Grineer and Corpus are ironically trying to expedite their demise by attacking the Tenno. That's not what ironically means. So, how do you feel about Warframe's lore?
I think it is like you were saying on one of your last podcasts, it has a lot of holes that can be poked in it for sure. As a whole, it does kind of hold together, but there are some issues as far as continuity, as far as like what we're talking about, the factions working together. It seems like the Radio and the Orbiter will occasionally say that the Grineer have traded with the Corpus and they have their own thing going on. And suddenly, next time you know, they are, like they were saying, cartoon villains where they care about what's going on. They don't think all that much, it seems. But as far as the entirety of the lore of Warframe, it's just kind of a little bit scatterbrained. Definitely feel. But as far as the...
No, as far as...
Oh, I was going to say, as far as the factions working together against the Sentients, I assume they all should be in agreement there.
What? Yeah. So at some point, it depends, right? I would hope that DE are going to move the story and the lore forward at some point, and you're right that at some point they need to come together and realize, well, there is. That's the part of the problem is how big a threat are the Sentients? Like at one point it was there's some in the solar system in a tomb and they come out, but in really there's loads out there in another solar system. But then what is in that other solar system? Is there a literally unlimited amount of untouched sentients that can come into our solar system, but they can't divide once they're here? So literally there is unfathomable numbers. But then it almost seems to be making out like the mother is dead, they can't make any more or something in one of the last quests. So the actual threat the Sentients pose is just so nebulous. Are they a threat? Is there lots of them? Do they do anything more but putting giant thumbtacks into Earth and then we break them? I mean, what?
I don't get them because, like, how did they get to the Tau system? Because if they went through the void, they can't reproduce.
I don't think they were intended to divide while they're there. So I think they were sent by the Orokin through some method, either normally or it's too much void that does it, and that one journey was fine, but the return void will poison them. I think that's the key point, that return void poison them. So it could be that they've been exposed once. The secondary exposure is what destroys their ability to reproduce.
Right. So... like, tactically, oh no, we can't send our dudes over there, otherwise we won't be able to make more of ourselves. Okay, so make more of ourselves on this side and then send the dudes over.
Yeah.
Right, I think that might be... I was going to say, as far as lore goes, I think it makes sense where, you know, they one trip through the void, and that's what the flaw was, where they instilled that, oh, you go through the void, you're sterile, you can't reproduce kind of thing. And then, yeah, if they were able to add on retroactively that another trip through the void would kill them straight out, I think that could work because they're coming straight from the Tau system and it's just taking time, which is now they're starting to encroach on everything. Maybe they could add on the the Gray Mother they referred to, or the Lotus in her little monologue during the
I don't
Ropalola's
remember
fight.
this.
Well,
There's
there's
she refers
Era
to
that
something
said,
called the,
yeah, does she? Oh,
maybe it wasn't the Lotus, but I swear I heard something about a mother type of figure. Some
hmm.
people thought was the giant mothership, like a literal mothership that we saw with the sentience on it.
Well,
Maybe.
Hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say there's the. I swear there's the new war announcement trailer they did at TennoCon where you see Lotus talking to Mother, but then you also there's the thing in game, which is the cutscene where you see Era and Ballas half converted and Tar Lotus, and Era says Mother is dead. So, and then tries to make Lotus Mother or something. What is this? It's just get on with it.
Yeah, that's it. I must have missed that part in that scene or remember it right. But yeah, well, if their mother's dead, maybe they are trying to turn Lotus into the mother against her will.
Oh, but isn't there
Didn't seem like she was up
also?
there, but
Isn't there a secret message in the Orphix Venom quotes where you take the first letter or something, and Lotus says she's dying or something?
I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is something like she's dying, which I don't know. Now it just opens up a whole other. There's loads more questions that need answered now, and I don't think the answers are going to come anytime soon. Because speculate so much, but yeah, with the Lotus being almost a prisoner now, maybe, or then again, she's spent her entire life lying even more. I don't know. I guess we're going to see with the new war, soon, trademark. But the I don't know. The more I think about it, the lore is just kind of out there. It just needs to all kind of get wrapped up and tied together somehow, and I hope they do that.
Well, you guys. Yeah.
I kind of feel that this is so the original topic has some sense to it with do we really want the Corpus and the Grineer being cartoon villains trying to fight in this war? But I do feel like there are too many questions in my head. Like if they couldn't reproduce due to being on. Oh god, no! I remember now. There's a lore entry that it's in the Plains of Eidolon fish that basically says that the sentients are really interested in the Unum because apparently it's supposed to have something that allows them to reproduce again.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's all the sentience though, or just the sentience on Earth at that time. It's really hard to say because the story of that whole thing to do with just with Gara, just with Gunum, just with the Eidolon sort of thing.
My understanding is that the sentients didn't get to the.
No, they didn't get to the Unum, but they fought the Unum.
So I don't know. Maybe there's supposed to be some lore element that with the Lotus living in the reservoir for so goddamn long in the void that she was able to reproduce again, right? Maybe that was something that Ballas did when he somehow tricked her into taking her helmet off. He fixed her, and now she. But again, it doesn't make sense. How is she able to now reproduce when apparently she says during. Oh crap! When did she say this?
Nata Quest, I think.
Yeah, the Nata. It was one of the two, and she says we gave up our ability to reproduce.
Yeah.
I
But don't worry, Era threw her in a box or something.
I threw that a chair.
It's a thing.
Do I want to see the factions of the Origin system teaming up together? Yes, but I'd also like to have their own agenda as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. I do think they should retain their the very personality of what the Corpus are. They're greedy capitalists, while Grineer are just very warlike, and have them work with the Tenno if they need to in a way. But yeah, like you were saying, still retain their have their own agendas. Only do it because they have to, not because they. I think that would work pretty well as far as getting the factions involved, as long as they kind of still retain their personality, I should say.
Wow. See, it depends how you would play out. The problem is, D doesn't seem to want to do anything with the star chart, so it was really just literally a theme park which goes start to end, and it doesn't really evolve anymore. What would be really, really cool is if it was a multi-stage thing. At first, both the Grineer and the Corpus independently request you to help just them. So players can either choose to be a Corpus Warframe or a Grineer Warframe for who they're defending. Obviously, rewards or whatever, successes, whatever, which faction gains a bit of supremacy, they can make a whole event out of it, like good old Gravidius Dilemma and Tube Men. But then later on, as its story progresses, both sides get worn down, and so then begrudgingly it comes together as one next event, which would be where everything's together. We need more Gravidius Dilemma!
Quick question. Primed. Did you participate during Gravidius Dilemma?
I don't think I did, at least not to my knowledge. When did Gravidius Dilemma?
2013.
2013.
Oh, yeah.
13, 20.
Yeah, I joined in July of 2014, before I started.
Right.
But
are you aware of what Gravidius Dilemma was?
I've heard it in passing a few times, but you might want to give me a quick rundown of what that was.
Oz?
So, Gravidius Dilemma was a very simple event. It was anytime you do the when you get the game missions now where you choose a side and it says go fight for the Grineer for 3 missions and you will get this reward. Invasion, yeah. You know the invasion missions?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, this was the test bed for that, where those missions were the new thing. That's how events back in the day used to be. Hey, we're adding a new thing to Warframe, let's test it, and so we make an event, so players will play lots. We get all the stress testing done, and we mutilate it a bit and put it into a form which we can just leave to get on with the game. They did this with the survival missions, but when they were added in the game, very different in the event, first of all. So, Gravidius Dilemma, which was the best event, was set up with a bit of background story as well, where you had to choose a side. Either you could go for the Grineer or go for the Corpus. The Corpus was Alad V, this character, which I don't think we couldn't fight him yet. He was still just a nebulous character. Right. And what he'd done is he'd found a collection of Warframe cryopods. So you could, if you supported him, I'm gonna get this right. No. If you supported against him, you supported the Grineer against him, you'd be able to save the cryopods because he'd be too busy dealing with these Grineer. If you support, however, the Grineer, if the Grineer win because they got too much Warframe support, they're going to go crush the colonists of Mars. Apparently, we never ever saw these colonists, but it was enough to make us go ooh. But if you support the Grineer, you'll stop Alad getting the cryopods, but the Grineer will do nasty things to the colonists of Mars. So you go, so let's support Alad. So you support Alad, the colonists of Mars will be fine, but Alad will be free to go get these cryopods and use them for his nefarious Zanuka project, which we didn't even know what it was at the time. It was amazing. And so this played out on the star chart where nodes would be, this one node is active, here's this choice, and then it would just run for probably 12 hours or whatever. And both factions would offer a reward, and whichever side won after a certain amount of time or a certain amount of missions, the node would change hands. That's how it used to be. So at the time, it was amazing. It really felt epic because this was the first time you could play a Grineer Galleon with Corpus units on if they won. If the Corpus took over a Grineer Galleon, you'd be like, whoa, this is a Grineer Galleon with Corpus units on. Whoa, mind blown. Or this is a Corpus outpost tile with Grineer on it. So things were actually changing hands, and it actually felt like the game was a bit in flux. And it started on Gravidius, and with the star charts, which is similar to the star chart now. It's pathways. It was like Battlefront. So first of all, it was just one Battlefront, but then deactivated another one, different angle, and it was up to the community choosing which side was going to win. Oh, and when whoever victored also would be either the Brack? Yeah. Or the Detron. And so that was also the reward to be played for. And I don't know, it grasped the community because it felt like an active combat was happening. It was the war. In fact, that's what Steve said. This is going to put the war back in Warframe. And it did for a time. And then they got rid of it. And it was sad.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, like you were saying, they toned it down for future missions. Like you were saying with survival, when they added that, it was much different. Yeah. Now we have invasions, and they'll occasionally take over nodes. But no, that whole event actually sounds like it was great at the time.
Yeah.
And I hope they add something similar as far as that goes. Because admittedly, with Scarlet Spear, Scarlet Spear was pretty disappointing and very, very, very grindy and repetitive. But and it didn't really feel like, you go there, you escort, you defend something, and then you leave. Same with the uplinks; they need to improve on those. I think they're getting there, but yeah, just something as an event that would kind of bring the new war together as a whole, or maybe have something really big going on, really big community event like that. I think would be amazing for the game.
Yes.
So
Instead of
going back to Loz's original proposition of you choose a side for the Lemma style. Now that we got the context, I would like to propose to you. You are given the opportunity to decide what is the reward the Corpus and the Grineer get for what their evil machination, right? So while the new war is happening, what is it that the Corpus obtain during the new war to further their their business model after the new war, and what do the Grineer obtain? Any thoughts and feelings?
as far as the Corpus goes, we know that they're incredibly interested in sentient technology, researching it, studying it, have fused hybrid weapons and even hybrid core Corpus guys that are running around.
Yeah.
So maybe something where they can fight them back as long as they study the remnants, take over a sentient ship. I mean, they really wanted to. But that'd probably be their motivation, was technology, then sell it, make money, that kind of thing.
I
as far as
love the idea of the Corpus taking over a sentient ship.
Yeah, put them in charge of what are those big ships in the Railjack?
Morax?
Yeah, the Morax is there. Get to them. Maybe they can take over one of those, and then we have one of those floating around. I don't know. Just trying to think off the bat, and that would be probably their motivations. They're clearly interested in sentient. But as far as the Grineer goes, I wonder what the Grineer would want. They're from the sentients or from us. Get their help.
You have any thought, Loz?
What if the Grineer win versus the Corpus win?
Yeah. Well, yeah. If no. What I'm saying is, I feel that the Grineer and the Corpus, they both get their bonuses, right? But it's a case of what is the Grineer's bonus. So if the Corpus managed to steal a Murex, whatever, a sentient ship, what is it that the Grineer obtain?
You see, I would like it to affect masses of things. Like that's the point of Iridius, is it felt like it was impacting the solar system. So it'll have a range of effects. Like for the next 2 years, Grineer, let's say the Grineer win, the Grineer Fomorians will build 3 times quicker.
Oh, okay.
And also, well, the problem with those is this is how I mean that DE doesn't actually they've locked the solar system in place. It's a theme park. When was the last time a relay blew up? Never has since the event.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and see that's why it'd be things like that. It would actually make it feel like the Grineer have now. So what would happen if the Grineer win? It means the Grineer presence in the solar system is now stronger and the Corpus is diminished. So things like that Fomorians, more Fomorians attacking more, because they're even though you've helped stave off the sentient invasion, but at what cost? Now the Grineer, our war machine, hasn't been damaged by them and is now free, and the Corpus have been damaged by it, and so they've got no sentience, less Corpus. The Grineer will now march forth. So it would affect the spawn rate of mobs, the drop rates of things. I'm trying to think of ways to make it bad against you, and that's why I try to come up with a Fomorian one. Special missions appear, special units would appear. That's the kind of changes I would like to see. Yes.
Could you? I'm trying to think hard here. Could we make it so that the Grineer sort of use their potato-based technology with the ghouls, sort of like amalgam ghouls with sentience, so they're mindless workers, but they're such good workers that they can produce Fomorians at a much accelerated rate.
Oh yeah, that too. No, I would also say that by their research, and they don't get to steal Fomorian spaceships, but by getting access to loads of dead sentience things, they're able to fix their own genome. So you'll see new, not like tube men, but like closer to those original Orokin Grineer.
I love that.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that maybe a cure for their clone rot, or at least something further.
You want to go through in stages. You want to see that a change is happening. So there would be new Grineer elite troops, which are the beautiful Grineer, call them. You know what I mean? And they'll be more dangerous and more deadly, but they don't have the clone rot. They're not suffering from degradation. So it's like, oh my god! But obviously, it'll take them time to fix the entire Grineer. So the story doesn't just jump along. Oh, all the Grineer are cured now, but it moves around fractionally. That would be good.
One thing on a slight tangent, I always wanted, and I was talking to Nazeth about this, was different sub-faction of the enemies. So, like, there's a faction of Grineer that basically lived on the outskirts of the Origin system so long that they use guerrilla tactics to pick off the Tenno, as opposed to, just send more of them, right? And I would like it if, not down the same vein, but like, why couldn't we have a pure cast subset of Grineer? So it's like, so there now becomes a hierarchy within the Grineer where, you're not pure like I am.
Right? Yes, that would be future stories, yeah. So that the Grineer then splinter, because then the beautiful Grineer start looking down on the others, yeah.
And vice versa, because like you could actually have it where, but you're not a true Grineer because you've been tainted
your
by
sentience change. Yeah, I smell the sentient taint upon you, clone scum.
Yeah. So, but no, I very much like that. I really feel that is good direction to take the narrative. Like, let's give the Corpus and the Grineer the opportunity to benefit from this new war, and still have room to progress the plot. Because, like, I don't know, like, how many times have you watched a series or something, and all of a sudden they became a good guy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I don't want either faction to decide, that's it. Now that together, arm in arm as brethren, we have defeated the sentient menace, we will now have peace reigning throughout all of the planets of the solar system. Oh, joy is everyone. Now let's have a hug.
Lord knows I've listened to those stories where they were at the very end, we're all buddy now.
Yep.
We're all going to get along, just ignore the genocide I did.
That's in the past. That's gone. I'm a good guy now. I do good things. Look at me being good.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I like about Warframe's narrative with a lot of that was if we have to work with some of these guys, we're not doing it because we're friends. We're doing it more because we have to. I think is going to hopefully plays a part in the new war, where, like we were saying, this whole thing is just, what can they, or how can they benefit from this war?
Yeah.
And they're not doing it because they're really on our side. They're just doing it to die, but so they also have something to gain. And I think that as a narrative, that works out perfectly. And like you were saying, with the Grineer splintering off, would be another fun storyline, I think, to tackle. They do have their own, some of them have their own splintered things already. What is it, the Kavor that we help during the, not disruption mission, the one where you have to escort the Grineer to safety infested areas. I'm trying to remember the name of the missions.
The defection missions?
Yeah, defection, that's right. And I know that they're more of a pacifist race, but something similar to that, where saying they have different factions that start warring amongst themselves as well.
It could be so good.
So the ultimate question is, are we actually going to get a new war?
I'm I don't even know. At this point, I don't even know what form it would take. Scarlet Spear, I mean, maybe they've learned a lot from Scarlet Spear, and what would actually arrive would be really decent. I mean, Railjack is now in a lot better place than it was when Scarlet Spear came out. Seeing Scarlet Spear has literally -5 Railjack components to it. But we'll have to see. I just Just need something with a bit of meat to it and depth, rather than.
And that's what I'm hoping for too. Something that kind of ties the game together with Railjack as well as on ground mission. I know they tried that. They dipped their toe in with of course I just forgot it. You just said it, but with the ones where we had to go on and defend Scarlet Spear. Sorry, yeah, with Scarlet Spear there, and I hope they really improve it because the base formula kind of repetitive and boring, and a lot of people felt the same. If they could take that, build Railjack and on-ground missions together in a good way, really big event like the Gradavis Dilemma that you were talking about, I think that has the potential to be some of the peak of Warframe if they are able to play on that in a good way.
Oh, I'm gonna have to start asking random people this because I don't know. Did anyone here play Mass Effect 3 when it was actually on content? No. Primed?
I never did, unfortunately.
Because I read somewhere that so obviously in Mass Effect 3 it's when the war happens in the plot of Mass Effect, but correct, please, I'm no expert on Mass Effect 3, I played 1 and 2, but anyone comment, let me know. My understanding was obviously in 3 the Reapers come, so it's like the war of them, and they added a multiplayer online component, and so the more you couldn't actually unlock the final story of the single player until enough people had played the multiplayer enough to unlock the different endings, because that was the war component. So it was actually, everyone was actually contributing through the multiplayer sessions into this unlocking of the actual story. So I would love if that be for Warframe.
Yeah, I have no idea if there was an online component to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was because there was multiple things. Obviously your own playthrough of the single player, but there was like it was supposed to represent the war effort. To make it feel like it was a Mass Effect game. Mass beyond this, just you. Oh yes, you finished the storyline and collected all 17 pine cones. Now you get to fight the end boss with a good ending. It was actually to make it feel like it was a universe fighting. You had multiplayer people. Every multiplayer game was counted into a big pot until enough progress had been made, kind of thing. And as I recall, it would like change week by week what bosses and what enemies you'd be fighting. I seem to remember something about witches being really evil. Yes, I remember reading a wiki.
I'm fine for that as long as there's a alternative experience for players after this event is concluded.
Yes.
Right. So I don't know if you guys are fully aware, but
you still have that in Mass Effect. You still have that. Well, you still have the single player storyline of the main character. You just don't get to experience
This isn't the current trend for Warframe, though, because I don't know if you've realized you can't do the third part of the new war multi-part quest, right? It's like contextually it makes no sense because Scarlet Spear has concluded.
Yeah.
Right. So this is why a part of me feels like, are we ever going to get the new war? Because that part of the story is now broken. So you're going to expect, you get the book, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 4, chapter 5. Wait, what happened to chapter 3?
Yeah, but when whatever they're going to release can release, there can be like a one-play mission where you just play through the one gameplay mode mission of Scarlet Spear. Job done.
Just swap it with something else. Just throw in Orphix Venom instead. That's in the game.
Yeah, that'll happen. Something like that'll happen, I'm sure.
Yeah, but like my point is that there needs to be a plan for an alternative.
PALN plan.
Okay, cool. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to follow up with. No? We go to the replies?
No, Primed, you good?
Sorry, I cut out for a second. What was that?
Xeno was asking if you got anything you want to add.
Oh no, I was saying that I think we covered just about everything that I could possibly add in there, so
fair enough.
I think we're good there.
All right, let's have a look at the replies. Well, to be fair, one of the queens is dead, or might as well be anyway, as a result of our involvement. So if Sargras Ruck, as a loyal Grineer soldier, is aware of that, and the Grineer as a whole are violently xenophobic in nature, it would make sense that he'd find the death of one of his race's matriarchs unforgivable. Yeah, I think she's coming back. I think, wasn't there some allusion to that or something?
um, so there's Primed. Have you ever heard of the YouTuber Mauler?
Baller. I don't think I have.
Okay, so Mauler does the relatively well structured yet heavy on the satire breakdowns of movies, right? And one thing he always says is bad form is when you actually have the audience fill in the story blanks for the poor writing.
Oh, to explain plot holes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And I'm sorry, right? There's only one Grenier that has ever interacted with the Twin Queen, right? It wasn't even like just the queens; it was the Twin Queens at the time, and that was Vor in a cutscene out of the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember that.
You can't do stuff like this where it's like, oh well, Saga Struck would be upset.
Yeah, that character would feel
we
this, would they? Why?
It's like, show, don't tell, don't fill in the mistake. It's bad form.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things they could do. Could you imagine the Worm Queen bringing all of the different bosses together, and they all walk in and they kneel before the Queen, and they all say, like, you know, you're the only one left, and then like the reveal of like the other one's in like a giant Kuva tank, like, no, I won't be soon, but with your help, and then like all the bosses get sent off on the different thing, and then you see interactions. Wouldn't that be cool? No, we don't get any of that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Especially considering the queens were Orokin.
Yes,
That's why they hate the fact that they're in these gross, as they say, gross Grenier bodies. So maybe she, depending on the choices you made during the, or not, War Within. Sorry, yeah, the during the choices that I think was the good choice or the choice, which was basically lop her head off and she's dead. But we've shown that the Orokin can transfer their consciousness from one body to the next. So yeah, that'd be kind of a cool little reveal. Would be oh, he's still alive, or something of that nature. Because there was the ones where you just let her rot, other one where Teshin jumps up and chops her head off, and then the other one where you shoot her through the chest. All the endings correctly.
I've okay, what if during the new war the Elder Queen turns up in a necromech?
or of something necromech-esque thing, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Being stupid here. But no, I mean, I do like the idea that, you know, the Queen actually gets some involvement in the plot. I just,
by the way,
I wish that
I swear
I
remember an off comment from Steve that he actually really hated. Now wishes they never did the whole player choice thing.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to continue that. I think they were like, yeah, it's such a cool thing. Right, let's do the next thing. So this character still exists. No, they didn't. What would you mean? Well, we've now got to account for 3 different scenarios. This character being dead by this, or not by this. Oh, does that mean we have to put more effort into the next one? Yeah. Oh, let's not do any more content. Okay, fine.
I mean, like, so out of the 3 endings, the one ending was you let her go, another one was you kill her, and then the other one was you let Teshin kill her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so whoever decided, and that actually determined what of the 3 and like, oh no, sorry, that's what you did with the Kuva determined what Wally said to you.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that there was outcomes to that, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
next. Oh, sorry. You go.
Oh no, I was just going to say that maybe tie in with the want, as we were saying, what would the Grenier want with sentience and war? Maybe some way to revive or fix the sentient tech, but I mean, who knows at this point?
Sentient. Oh no, actually no, you got a really good point, because Natar, right, is a mimic. So she adopted Margulis's appearance, not appearance. So could Elder Queen well, basically, could they convince another sentient to do that for the Elder Queen, so she has a proper, true body, and then she transferences into that?
That would actually be pretty interesting, using a sentient body for organ consciousness.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
That could be a good plot line.
Mm.
But yeah, maybe something like that if the Grineer wanted that with the war. But, we can always hope. There's plenty of interesting plot lines like that.
We can always hope. The next one is, that aside, the foot soldiers on both sides have flexible but coloured views on the Tenno because of our canonically rarity and whispers / myths / legends passed down around behind their backs of their superiors. When it comes down to a survival, they probably would be willing to fight with us. The instances like Orphix Venom are just a case of game programming. Again. Oh, I think this will happen, and I will ignore the component in the actual game where Orphix Venom and also Scarlet Spear, where the Grineer completely ignored fighting sentients because we were the bigger threat they hated. Like, no, you have to account for those. Don't just discount them, oh, that's the game. You can get away a little bit with that's a game, but this feels a bit too much.
Yeah, you can't say something horrible then. Can't dismiss something that's happened.
I mean, yeah, you can give examples. Like, there is the ones that fight with us on Deimos. And then, crossfire maps where they either, well, actually, they're fighting each other by maps. But, maps where you fight with them. So, yeah, but I doubt that the foot soldiers will be like, that's it. I'm going to support the Tenno. Yeah, like, secretly all the Grineer were Clem. No.
That was one thing during Orphix Venom, I remember. I even made a comic about it. Like, the guys, the sentients are duking it out. We should just leave them alone. And it's like, no, you're just a foot soldier. Go in there and basically kill yourself. And because there's no way you're going to fight these horrific threats to us, but they do anyways. So, just watching him like, gunning hundreds of crewmen down with a necromech while running Orphix Venom. I'm like, well, these guys don't want to work with us, I guess. So
yeah,
we have a chance to work together. But hey, I mean, I'll just stab one with my Bone Widow so I keep health up, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
Oh look, pockets of balloons of health.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, next one. If the Tenno and the Corpus are allied, they could probably overthrow the Grineer and defeat the Sentients. Don't know why the Tenno feel the need to keep mass murdering these guys. Because then they'd become the Orokin?
Let me remind you. Let me get my big book of stupid. Very stupid. Anyway, do people not remember the whole events of the Glass Gambit? Right, the whole
Zanuka project.
Amalgams. Ambulance Reborn.
Just make a list of all the bad things the Corpus have done to us.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I mean, oh god, what was it? Oh god, it was the Darvo mission where he basically sends you in to get slaughtered by the Stalker because it turns out he was stealing Stalker's shit.
Yeah.
What was it? What Stalker?
What Stalker? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So
like the game really. I think this is because the Corpus. I mean, that's why I love that we've got Parvos Granum now, and we're getting the sisters, and maybe we'll get some more background there. But the Corpus are supposed to be equally just as bad. They're supposed to be. They worship the old Orokin tech, and basically, eventually, given their own devices, they would become exactly like the Orokin, decadent and ridiculous, and just as opulent and just as callous when it comes to an individual's life. That's how it used to be portrayed. However, you've got things that really muddy the water. Like, you've obviously got Perrin Sequence who are pacifists, and then you've got the whole, we all live together, look at all the poor Vox Solaris people, But they're not real Corpus. Not Corpus. They're the lowest bracket of Corpus. They're the poor people, fair enough. But as a percentage of actual Corpus society, they're probably a tiny margin. But they become almost the proxy face of, but the Corpus are good guys. Look at those. Like, no. The Corpus, the real Corpus, are the ones doing the nasty things to these people.
Yeah, I mean the corpus can be just as good as they can be bad.
Good.
I
Tell
mean,
me the good
it's-
things they do.
Well, no, I'd argue unless you're not counting them as corpus, the pairing sequence.
Do you think corpus?
Fair enough. If you don't count them as corpus, then
I don't
fine.
count them as corpus.
I mean, if corpus is also just a classification, no, you have to be inherently bad. If you've got any shred of goodness in you, then no, you're a pairing sequence. No choice in the matter.
It's sad because they keep muddying it with. I'd love more and more quests. Like, I mean, suppose just like we had with the Call of Tempestari that focused on corporate. Like, what was happening on the Lucretia platform? That's what I want to know. Oh, is Lucretia when the Lucretia platform blown up? What was? Go back to that. Go back to that part of the story. Push the rewind button. Push the rewind button. What was happening on their secret platform in the void that they blew up? They must have blown up for. I assume the Tempestari blew up for some bloody good reason. That'd be really cool. Let me see what's happening on the platform. Probably nasty, dark, grim things with people being exposed to the void in the hope to make Xeno or something. And then the Tempestari went kapow and blow them all up, and they exploded to Gibbs in space, and it'll be grim and horrible. And I loved it, but they didn't show it to me.
Hopefully they have something like that when they sisters eventually. Maybe they dive more into the lore. I can always hope, but I don't know if they were going to dive that much in. But explain how the sisters survived, how they became, void or gifted by the void, or however they're going to make them liches, but corpusified, I guess. But how they're going to make that work with and maybe dive a little bit into the lore, because with the Grenier liches, all we got was queens gifted them, and they're sent to hunt us down.
Yeah,
that's all we got there. But.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, because
I was going to say, if they could show us what they were doing on Lucretia, and if it was bad,
yeah,
and of course it's the corpus, they're all pretty much bad, like you were saying. The only good thing they did was found the index, which allowed me to get rich. But so,
or have they merely corrupted you as well?
I want to find out what was special about. I want to find out what was special about Lucretia, though. See, maybe they weren't doing something that we found horrible, but that could go dabbling in the void. Maybe they were discovering something about the void, how something like that could be changed around, because it's obviously tied heavily with the void. But I don't know. There's just so many directions they could take the story when it comes to this.
I do feel they need to start heavily tying stuff together. Like, damn it, that heart today, Moss.
We don't talk about that. No. Right, there's many more. Moving on. Last one. I love a vast majority of DE's law's decisions, but Corpus and Grenier deeming the infestation a greater threat than sentience annoys me. But again, it's because they don't do a good. It's because we don't get a good sense of the solar system, which is supposed to be vast, right? Just even though we have killed, there's a number on the website of how many Grenier Lancers have died. That is supposed to literally be nothing to the Grenier war machine. Like, although we do targeted strikes and we jab them at certain points, which does hurt the overall war effort, maybe we save a planet hero and some colonists get away. The overall slow lumbering Grenier war machine has been affected by nothing. Even though a Tenno can slay, 100 Grenier Lancers in 10 seconds or something, that is just pocket money to the Grenier. They have legions beyond clone factories of immense magnitude. So, though we win strategic victories, it's supposed to be a drop in the bucket, really is. So, what was my point? So the infestation. So yes, the infestation. What does the infestation do? Well, that takes themselves and it mutilates them, and they can see how nasty it is, and it's quite hard for them to fight them, because then, as their people, if they do lose a fight, all their corpses get turned into more infestation. That's kind of a psychological threat that they might want to deal with. But the sentients, again, we feel like they're just as much as the Court of Grenier or whatever, there's lots of them, but no, it's supposed to be they are in the fringes. They are a rumour to 90% of the Grenier armed forces. Some sentients, it's just an Orican joke myth thing. They don't really exist. We barely see them. So when we see the sentients invade, that is all the sentient. We see literally the entire sentient spear and we fight it back. But when you fight Grenier, you're literally fighting a toenail of an elephant. And that disconnect, because that's how the lore is supposed to be, or how it was, but it just doesn't come across well. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. Flashes back to when they destroyed the first relay. Oh, you were just destroying the auxiliary cores. You weren't doing anything. And
Yeah.
boom goes the relay.
Yeah. Even though we thought we were attacking all these facilities, look at us, we're blowing up all these things. You're like, what? No, you just blew up. I got loads more over here. Loads more. I got generators for days. Just you blew up my spares. Like, yes, that is a perfect example, Prime. I'm gonna remember that one.
I think one thing I would like to see is like more interaction between the sentient and freaking hell, anything, right? I would like to turn up to, we come to this tile, there's loads of Grenier, and then as you progress through this Phobos tile, Grenier just sort of disappear, and it turns out there were a couple of sentients that also got deployed there, and they've just slaughtered the Grenier. There's just dead bodies of Grenier everywhere, right? And then you could argue, but the Grenier just assumed it was the Tenno that did it, right? But it just be nice to see that there is this interaction between them. Granted, we might not see the physical combat, but just like give us some indication that something happened.
I think that would be great because we see it on Neptune and Lua. The occasionally sentients will show up and be there, but besides just showing up, that's all we get with as far as them interacting with anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, to see, like you were saying, if we were to show up similar during Umbra's quest, where you run in, there's just dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
But that was Umbra doing that. But something with the say once you get past the story quest where you do deal with the sentients, then you can start having missions. Occasionally, find one where there's just sentients slaughtered tons of Grenier or Corpus or something like that, and it plays a little more into the story, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
but
I think like it simply said, all three of us, we just want to see expansion to the plot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I think we're done for this topic.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So, well, thank you very much, everyone. If you want to catch more of this episode, the full episode is in the link in the description below and on the end slate. Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe. We need to get 1,000 subscribers so that we can pimp people like Timed Average on YouTube cards. So probably give us 5 minutes and YouTube will do them. And Loz reads every comment. The main episode has platinum giveaways, the meme showcase, the community shout outs, and other fun stuff. So, right.